Welcome, everyone. We will be talking about investigations and reporting in this presentation with respect to the industrial accidents and so on. So, let us proceed. Now, what are the basic goals of this presentation is to have a better understanding because of the nature of work that we work within our facility. What are the risks that we encounter? We need to understand them. We need to identify the safety hazard thereof. Probably, if possible, control them. So, how we take control of hazard is found in the keys to creating a safe work environment, and that is the crux of the presentation. I will be showing a number of pics for you to understand comprehensively of what all hazards are present in a workplace area. Hazard that may cause death, that may cause injuries or damages must be addressed as soon as they are identified. If you can identify a hazard, nothing like it. You, but if you don't know what to do next is the biggest problem that we can have, and that is precisely the reason why we have appointed safety officers or supervisors about it. They are going to help you around it. Mind you, workplace hazard can cause death, injuries, damages to the equipment, and so on. Let us understand how inspection helps. The inspection process seeks to identify potential causes of incidents, probably of accident, which is the first step in their prevention. Remember, unsafe acts that are observed should be addressed as it should be of unsafe condition. So we need to maintain a safe working environment. Accident are a disruption on a daily operations. Remember this, and this in turns basically reduces the operational efficiency thereby. We need to understand and improvise upon it. So, what to inspect? Let us understand the entire workplace. Workplace means everything. That is the infrastructure, which might include the building, which might include the structures, the equipments, must be inspected. If the building that you break down into several different inspection, then probably different inspection must be completed to receive the credit for the next inspection. Example, let's say a five-story building. How do we go around it? Each story has an inspection form. Must have the inspection form for each of the story completed for that inspections to be counted as complete. Remember, all five inspections, and this is a five-story building, together can count as one building and one inspection for that structure. Well, when looking at inside operation, never forget to check the work areas, the areas accessible to the public storage, and maintenance of the areas and equipment. Let's say open locks, open doors. When inspecting external areas, remember to address the security in the parking areas. We are talking about the walking, the working surfaces for trip hazards, storages, maintenance, building, equipment, anything and everything that is within the premises of the organization. We must look for the emergency exit. Signage should be in place. They should make aware the public, the employees working in the vicinity, what route to take, and so on and so forth. So please remember so that these emergency exits should not be blocked, should not be changed. They should be always accessible and open per se. Now, let us understand the checklist categories. We are talking about building safety, we are talking about the office safety, we are talking about fire safety. Yes, we are interested in electrical safety, emergency equipment, and the storage methods. If you have specialized areas which are hazardous, which might be high risk, add them to your checklist, probably which are not included in this thing. Hazard areas which you should inspect for in each building, in each area, as per the audit or the manual that is prescribed thereby. So let us understand what to look for. Indoor air qualities problem include those caused by molds or asbestos or by improperly operating heating, ventilation, and air condition. The abbreviation is HVAC. Again, I repeat, heating, ventilations, and air conditioning system. We need to address such things like firefighting equipment, the exit signage, the exit pathways. Remember, the fire marshal will write up anything and everything that violates the code. You should get a copy of a report every time they inspect you. Housekeeping may refer to such items as facility cleanliness, proper storage of materials, supplies, and related activities as the case might be. So, exactly. Apart from this, anything else to be looked into it? Definitely, yes. We need to ensure that the safety guards, the safety devices of the machine equipment are not removed, probably not modified in any particular fashion at all times when using machinery, equipment, etc. Follow the manufacturer's recommendation, guidelines, and procedures or safety standard. Disabling a safety device is strictly prohibited. Unsafe conditions such as slips, trips, fall hazards, electrical hazards, or any such condition that can cause injuries. They may also include environmental systems such as lighting, temperature, sound level. Now, we may have more than 85 decibel sound level, which, if continuously exposed, an employee might have some hearing impairment. When conducting your inspections, observe employees performing their job task. Are they following the proper procedures, obeying the safety rules, wearing required personal protective equipment, PPE, using ladders instead of chairs? If not, it needs to be noted and reported. Now, that is what we are looking for. So, types of inspection would be formal inspection, daily, weekly, routine inspection, special function, and etc. Now, formal inspection are those that are scheduled in advance. They may include the safety officers, safety committees. Daily, all employees are required to conduct informal visual inspection of their work area prior to beginning of their operation. Remember, supervisors should continuously monitor work areas for developing hazards or unsafe practices. Special function inspections are conducted after each accident and upon the introduction of new equipment or perhaps new procedure thereby. They may be conducted for other regulatory agencies. Annual walkthrough inspections are often prescribed by the government, be it provincial or the federal government. Let us understand who can, probably who is responsible for the inspection, who is authorized for inspection. Anyone and everyone can perform the inspection, be it employees, supervisors, safety coordinators, the management, the safety committee members, outside vendors, and insurance companies. So, any performing inspection should be trained on how to conduct those inspections. Daily, all employees should make a visual inspection of their workplace prior to beginning the work. Supervisor, safety coordinators, management personnel are a part of their daily work routine. Should make continuous visual inspection and take corrective action to address any unsafe acts or unsafe condition thereby. Members may inspect workplace accident scenes as on when on necessary. Outside parties, let's say the traveler's insurance, state fire marshal may inspection work sites as on when on basis as per the laws of the land that needs to be taken into consideration. So let me give you the following visual examples of what exactly we should be looking for. Yes, here comes the example one by one. We are talking about emergency equipment. Look what is happening in this particular scenario. If we say so, you see, there is no medical in the first aid kit. Take them out. It is the first kit visible, probably accessible. If not properly stocked, remove any product that have expired. Others items are defibrillators or spell kits, eye wash station, body wash station, you name it, and we have to have it. First aid kit is a must in any workplace area. Look at this particular pic. You see an office space, they are both dangerous in situation and in violation of safety codes, poor housekeeping, with combustible material tripping hazards scattered throughout the fire escape. In fact, the fire escape route is blocked. Exit doors are blocked altogether. Something to be very concerned of. Now, this is a regular site, a very normal site, and I'm not trying to take things out of context. Being very visible, you see the carpet is ripped, and this provides an excellent opportunity for any trip hazards to happen or occur. By the way, look out here, the lightning fixtures are not covered. Now this is again one of those accident prone areas which the electrical wires, or should I say the fires, can get catched up. We see the fire safety norms. You look into it, the elevator emergency keys are properly stored in place, that is secure, accessible at all time. Security or someone that lives close on a probably 24-hour calls, as in the fire department doesn't have a copy. So this is wonderful example of firearms. Now, is your firefighting equipment inspected, serviced, or probably ready? Have you checked their expiry dates? Fire extinguishers need to be in green. Now, we need to make sure that they are active. Check service tag for less than 1 year, month, year punch, as in last inspection. If over 1 year, notify the management. Pin in place, secure. Hose rotate and nozzle clock is usually checked for extinguisher at outdoors. Now let us look into the outdoor concept when dealing with containers of hazardous material. I'm talking about chemicals or gases perhaps. Check the container to ensure that there are no leaks. Make sure that nobody, including visitors and obviously employees, smokes nearby. Absolutely nobody smokes nearby. The container must be properly labeled. If the label becomes damaged, faded, they should be replaced. Very few exception hazardous material containers must have a spill containment, which is also referred to as a secondary containment. Obviously, yes, it is generally accepted to keep one or more hazardous material containers within the vicinity of the secondary containers. Secondary containers must be capable of holding at least 1.5 times the volume of the largest container within the secondary containment area per se. Now, here is it where we were talking about the various hazards being stacked. You look at it, grinding wheel does not have to be a tool, rest on the guard. Look, this is dangerous. No face shield is available. No signs of posted required use of the face shield. Machinery that is not intrinsically safe, let's say electrical grinder, is located next to a flammable material. Is this the right way? Probably not. The grinder should be easily served as an ignition source from the flammable vapors, sparks, and debris generated by the grinding process altogether, as well as flammable materials inside the plastic containers time and again. Let us move to the electrical safety. Look for and correct the following if you say so. You see the freight cords or patch cords, if there are any. Ground connection and remove damaged connections, overloading outlets. Outlet switchboards are not being covered. Please check into those things. Extension cord used in a permanent capacity. This is to be forbidden. If this it is supposed to be permanently used, can we have some permanent fixtures bound about it, not a temporary things living for a permanent basis on a permanent usage altogether. So that needs to be corrected as on when on material. Let us look at how inventories or storage has been done. You see, this pick is absolutely unacceptable housekeeping practices which do not store water in electrical mechanical rooms. Do you? Probably that's a very bad housekeeping habit per se. Not closets should be clear and clean. Dirty water left in a bucket. What for? My question to this thing is what for? If you have cleaned a room, get rid of the dirty water. Wet mops sitting on the floor, propped near the cords. Electrical equipment looks like a flammable containers. Left in this areas, other items to look for are storage, less areas cluttered. Are items overhanging from the shelves? Are they heavier items? Are they larger items? If so, why do you go around it? So please understand, large boxes have to be stacked on the top of a smaller boxes. If that is the case, this is not the right practice that actually happens around here. Giving you another poor housekeeping eventualities that comes around it. You look at it, it's an improper storage of compressed gas cylinders should always be chained, probably contained in a fenced or a caged area. We look at the staircases, the exit area. Are exit pathways clear? Are the rails sturdy? Are the tread risers in good conditions? Is the area properly lighted? Properly for the uses of emergency usage. We are talking about the exterior lighting and security. Are lights working after dark? Is lighting adequate from the building to parking areas? Are they overgrown bushes that someone could hide from behind, as the case might be? We're talking about ceiling leak. may create environment for mold growth, air quality problems in close proximity to electrical lighting, as the case might be. Filth, dirt growing out of air registers. This is an indication of a problem which HVAC. Did I say about heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system? This type occurs and often indicative of moisture problem in the system. It should be desisted or it has never been cleaned per se. Could be a loss of air quality problem for someone with asthma or severe allergies per se. So you need to complete your inspection and let us know what did you find out. Now we are going to review the action that needs to be taken once you've completed it. Sign it, date it, probably stamp it. So what did you find? Oh, if a hazard was found, make sure it is properly recorded and reported to the appropriate people. Both unsafe condition and unsafe acts should be corrected as soon as possible. Sometimes corrective actions can take place immediately. On other times can be drawn over a period of time, possibly even months. Beds may be needed to be gathered in order to correct the actions to be taken. Unsafe acts can be the topic for the next safety meeting per se. So we need to understand those unsafe condition, unsafe act, and differentiate between what are the wrong condition and what are the wrong behaviors per se. Remember, unsafe conditions must be addressed with reasonable time period. A follow-up inspection is a must. Unsafe acts can normally be corrected immediately. Acts are behaviors. Often, root cause analysis reveal that the unsafe acts are more or less the results of an incorrect training or probably lack of training thereby. After a problem has been detected, management has an ultimate responsibility to take the proper steps to correct it. Once a problem has been corrected, prudent steps must be taken to ensure that it doesn't return, it doesn't come back to square one. Job safety observation may be used to ensure that the proper procedures have been used. These observations should be conducted immediately and intermittently. When possible, the line employees should be involved in the inspection process. Now, they will be in a better way to get themselves educated and probably point out the issues present out there. In part because of their job, task, knowledge, they often have to develop safer mode, more efficient process. Always document anything and everything, corrective actions on the inspection floor. So let us start with an implementing control as the case might be. If you're looking at engineering controls include replacing equipment with safer models and probably removing unsafe equipment from the work areas. Administrative controls include restrictive access to the hazardous areas, the use of signs to communicate, informing informations, ensuring site security, and employee training. Written policies, probably procedures by the management. Protective equipment must be used as a last option after consideration has been given to the engineering and the administrative control. When PPE, personal protective equipment, is used, employee must be trained to its use and they must monitor to ensure that they are using the PPE properly. There should be a written program on how to purchase, use, maintain, store, disposal, and probably replacement of PPE thereby. So yes, we are talking about engineering control, administrative control, and the protective equipment controls. So let us document our finding. Document your corrective actions. All findings along with the corrective actions should be recommended, including training. This is where you should be fully documented. It must also be documented when items recorded on the hazard control logs or inspection checklist have been directed. This type of documentation that is used is not as a manner. More common documentation, it's work orders, email to the landlord, notebook. So document all your controls procedures. Now, written components. Each agency needs to have a written procedures on perhaps a building inspection or an identification of controls of hazard. All employees need to be trained as to the content of these procedures. They should be able to access the procedures. The procedures should include who inspects, how often they inspect, what forms are being utilized. Procedures follows hazardous has been identified by the materials of the corrective actions. Follow up is a requirement. Procedures should also include the use of any acceptable methods for reporting the hazards and corrective actions. Each agency should be identifying hazards in a unique way to their agencies. Now, what are we looking at it? We are looking at considerations, including the nature of services provided by the agencies, the physical location of the agencies. Unique hazards can be addressed only after they have been identified by a thorough and proper assessment. Good housekeeping may eliminate many hazards. Now let us understand the inspection effect. Now, what does it happen? Employee who observes supervisors, managers actively inspecting the work areas will know it is supported by the management that the safety is of primal importance. Everyone involved becomes safety conscious at work, home, and in the community. Everybody wins, perhaps. We need to look into it as often as possible. We need to encourage the employees. We need to have the sensitization of the management catering around it. Now, let us understand the inspection requirement on a monthly or a quarterly basis, which has been classified as Class A for monthly and Class B for quarterly. Class A agencies must conduct inspection on a month-to-month basis. Uh, the safety officer will not notify you annually if there are class A issues for you. This is determined by the formula that boils down. If your agency pays more than $5 or more, let's say $100 of a payroll, you are in a class A. All other agencies are in class B and are required to be inspected on a quarterly basis at the minimum. So yes, the checklist can be generated probably with the documents and the site specific. It is best to take the basic form and tailor it to your requirement. Site specific forms is highly recommended over a departmental form. Now, there many of the websites are giving you the checklist thereby. Probably I would recommend if you can go with a specific building and probably which are not repeated in orders. So yes, it should be systematic. Yes, it should be site specific thereby. So inspection documentation, what do we go around it? We talk about written documentation. Should include the items. For example, the name of the person inspecting, identifying the hazards, date of hazards been identified, areas, building, descriptions, and the exact location of the hazard, the corrective action, the date the hazard has been removed, and so on and so forth. These needs to be performed every now and then. For every written inspection, you should include the person, date, concern, corrective action, and the area of the building. I am just giving you a sample of a checklist that needs to be taken care for. You need to understand with those kind of check samples freely available on the net. Probably you can download any one of them, but I would hugely recommend to cater it or to tailor it to your requirement. Possible class exercise, pass out the sample inspection forms, now which we will be taking around it. Another part of this inspection processes is hazard control log. If you decide to keep a HCL, hazard control log system in place, our procedures needs to be inspected, as in who controls the HCL or hazard control log is all about it. Which who checks it daily? What are the hazard that needs to be followed up? Follows up on the complaints and keeps a documentation about it. If you have a work order system, you aren't required to use the HCL or hazard control log per se. Whenever the method you decide or what to use in your written procedures as the possible cases for it. For employees to report unsafe condition, we continue with HCLs or hazard control logs. All employees should be trained on HCLs. Procedures or other acceptable method, how to report, who to report, where to log in, what are the various methods to log in. HCLs, remember, hazard control logs should be monitored by agency safety officers or designed for a routine basis or at least on a daily basis. Documents the log has been monitored. HCL stands for Hazard Control Log, should be kept at least for a year before it goes around it. Yes, we are talking about training employees. We are talking about regular reviews. We're talking about maintaining the file for at least a year. Now, HCL responsibility, the person responsible for HCL, hazard control log, if I may say so, should be designated in writing. They should be the one who performs these functions must be trained on the agency's chain of command, as they possess the knowledge necessary to control the situation as per agency standards, must follow up all the hazard report system as on when on basis. I am just giving you a copy of a hazard control log that is available in plentiful of websites. Probably that is one which you can always check it out. Again, I am requesting all the audiences to tailor it down to your requirement. Now, corrective actions and how do we go around it? First and foremost thing is the corrective action should be appropriate to the situation. It should be timely. It should be effective. If the corrective action involves employee training, remember to thoroughly document it. All hazards should be corrected within a reasonable period of time. Document everything that is being done. If you have a question, refer to the previous action of as on when on basis. Now, if a hazard cannot be corrected, let's say within a month you have detected an hazard but it's not still been corrected, forward a copy of hazard control log or any documentation with an explanation of the action taken to the head of the company or the agencies, the head of your department, the Office of Risk Management, ORM, Loss Prevention Unit, and they will get back to you for absolutely every person, things like that. ORM stands for Office of Risk Management. Now, talking about record logs, record keeping is all about the inspection reports. The HCL hazard control log should be kept on the file for at least an year. Absolutely, if an agencies and the policies are required for a longer retention time, it is what we should be following it around. Remember, HCL or hazard control logs or any other method, if that is there is a hazard recorded on the log that takes a longer 1 year time to correct, the log should be maintained until and unless the hazard has been properly rectified. Additionally, if the information requires to become a part of the law unit, suits other standards should apply. We are looking for state fire marshal reports as on basis should be maintained for each location, for each site with proper documentations and corrective actions. This is what we should be doing around it. Remember to point out the deficiencies that has been there. You are responsible to notify the state fire marshals for all sites, all location, regardless of the state owned or leased. If there is one employee working in a 9-story leased building, you must notify to the state fire marshals. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.